Oh man, I have to make so much content, but I just don't have the time.
Don't worry, John. I'm gonna show you how to make 30 pieces of content in 1 hour.
All right, y'all, I'm here with Lo, our social media manager, who is also the queen of making a ton of content in a very little amount of time. And so, Lo, I'm gonna follow you around for the day as you film content, and I will make sure to ask Lo questions throughout her process in hopes that you will learn and take away from this how to make a month's worth of content in just an hour.
Yay!
Cool. Let's get started. All right, Lo, what's first?
Okay, so if you don't have a lot of time to create content, which is most of our creators, because when you first start creating content, it's kind of a side hustle, batch creating content, aka creating a lot of content in a short amount of time, is the way to go. And I have the perfect strategy of how to actually do this effectively and get all your content that you need. Okay, so this strategy has 3 parts to it, and the first part is using our AI, Stanley, to actually help you create your content. So Stanley is our own creator assistant. He can do so many things for you. He can actually create your digital products for you. He can write out your email flows for you. And then of course, he can also help you with content ideation, which is what we're gonna be using him for today.
But can't ChatGPT actually do this instead?
Okay, that's a great question. So ChatGPT can do something like this, but in order to do so, you'd have to feed it a lot of information all about you, about your content, about what you want to sell in the future, and it can give you a pretty generic idea, but it's not really catered towards you even after you give all the information. It's just not the best. What Stanley can do is actually scrape your social media, so you don't have to give him any information about you. You just say, hey, based on my recent posts, do this for me, and it scrapes your social media, scrapes your bio, scrapes your posts, so actually the content that it gives you even sounds like you, which ChatGPT cannot do. So I actually have a prompt for you to use. I have perfected this so that every single time you use it, you get amazing content ideas. Okay, so you go into Stanley and you say, based on my recent Instagram posts, or TikTok if you're on TikTok, generate me 10 topics I can talk about in my content and post on social media that will either educate or inspire my audience. So on Stanley now, I just typed in that prompt and I will press enter, and we'll let Stanley think for a second. Okay, we have it. Cool.
Let's see.
So Stanley just gave me now 10 new ideas to talk about. That's similar to my content already. So we have some examples here. The importance of taking breaks to prevent burnout, how to build an audience in any niche, the process of creating and selling digital products. Like, this is all stuff that I already talk about, but it's giving me even more ideas to create content about.
I love it.
So cool. And if you want Stanley to do even more things for you, like I mentioned before, like writing out your emails for you or creating your digital products, we actually have a free guide for you that has a ton of prompts. All you have to do is copy and paste it into Stanley and it'll give you what you need, and that's linked in the description below.
Okay, so you've just given us 10 content ideas, but how are you going to turn that into 30 different posts?
Yeah, so that's actually the next step, which is the rule of 3.
So Lo, what is the rule of 3?
So the rule of 3 is a term that I coined that pretty much allows you to take one content idea and turn it into 3 pieces of content. And those 3 pieces of content is 1 talking head, 1 short form, and 1 trend video. And I'm gonna tell you how to record each one of those.
So basically what you're saying is we're taking one concept or one kind of idea and we're making 3 different kinds of videos out of it.
Exactly, and that is so helpful as a content creator because then you're able to produce more content with less work in the content ideation phase of that. So by long form, I mean just a talking head talking to the camera. Short form, I mean B-roll with text on screen. And trend video is pretty much a lip sync audio. And if that sounds confusing, don't worry, I got you. I'm about to walk you through exactly how I film all 3. Okay, so for long form, it is pretty straightforward. When I say talking to the camera, you can just be talking directly to the camera. Other ways to do this is also by using a green screen. CapCut is a great free app that allows you to have what you want to talk about in the background as you are pointing to it. It's a great way to capture people's attention. And for the actual speaking part of it, I personally have a few bullet points that I know that I want to hit in the video, but I really struggle with scripts because then I feel like it feels like I'm reading off of a script. So I would recommend just having a few bullet points of the points you know that you want to say in the video, bounce off of that, and then when you are actually talking to the camera, speak as if you're talking to one of your friends and you're really excited about what you're talking about. So you want to have the energy there, but you want to also make it feel personal so your audience is going to feel connected when you're speaking. Okay, so when I'm actually filming, first I set up my tripod, make sure I do have good lighting because that is important. And what's awesome about recording on your camera app is once you press record, you can mess up as many times as you want and then just go back in and take the snippets that you do like. So don't worry about being perfect on your first try. I am not kidding when I'm recording. Sometimes I'm like, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. guys, and I say the same thing over and over again. Don't worry about that because you always cut it later. And if you haven't made these talking head videos before, I know it can feel uncomfortable, but I promise it gets easier with time. And just don't put too much pressure on yourself because you have your content ideas, you know what you have to talk about, just act as if you're talking to your friend and you'll crank it out. Next up, we have short form. So short form, like I said, is B-roll with text on screen. You might be like, what the heck is B-roll? B-roll is actually super easy to film. It really is just filming you doing any activity and putting text on screen to actually give your value. So I'm gonna show you how you can create so many pieces of B-roll in literally like 5 minutes. It's so cool. Okay, so as I'm gonna film B-roll for myself, I just wanna make sure I'm doing something engaging, like typing on my laptop, sipping a cup of coffee. It really doesn't matter. Anything that you typically do on your day-to-day is totally fine. And when I do record, I move my tripod around in different areas so I get lots of different angles. And I also always make sure that I do have space above me or behind me so that I can put text on screen as well. Okay, let's do it. All right, cool, I'm done. Now I have so much content and that took like 2 minutes. So now for the last of the 3, we did a long form, we did our B-roll for the short form, and now the next one is a trend video. So by trend video, it's just one of those lip syncing videos that you see someone is actually mouthing the words of what the audio is, and then their text relates to the audio, but also to what they want to talk about. So for example, I saw this video come up on my Explore page and I love the sound with it because it's such an easy one to actually apply to really any niche. So I'm gonna use the sound and apply it to what I would want to tell my audience. So let's watch it real quick and then we're gonna film it. So super easy to lip sync to, so I'm just gonna mouth the audio and then I will add my text afterwards. All right, take 1. I'll turn the timer on, that's also a helpful tool. Set timer. Start the video. So why I love using trending audios like this is because all I'm saying is this is crazy, so I can use any of the 10 content ideas I have that might be a little bit crazy and use that for this video. Okay, so I just explained to you how to actually film those different types of videos, but I want to give you a little more context on what to actually include. So in your talking head video, you actually want to give all of the value that you want to talk about, actually speaking to the camera, lay it all out on the floor there and just tell your audience everything they need to know. And the caption should actually be another hook for them to want to watch it. So for example, if your talking head video is about how to make and sell digital products, then your caption can be like, this is how I made $10,000 last month. So it really encourages your viewers to watch that video. And for the short form B-roll videos, you want to have a lot of the main details in the text on screen. I love actually having it so that I have like the hook is happening at first, and then when the beat drops, it switches to another text and maybe another text pops up after that. So the main ideas are in the video as text on screen, but then you go into even more detail in the caption. And then for the trend video, since it's a little bit more entertaining, you wanna have just like the main idea in the text on screen and then give all of your value in the caption.
So that's all really helpful, but am I just supposed to do this every month until I die?
So actually, like I mentioned before with Stanley, getting those content ideas, that's a great base to start out with. But then once you post all of these 30 videos, you now have different types of video with different topics that you can actually use and reflect on to make even better content. So I actually have this content strategy where I go back and I look at the previous week's content and I pretty much rank how each one of them performed. I will write out the top 5 performing posts and the bottom 3 performing posts. I'll link it out so I can always go back to it later. And then I will explain what the hook was and what the topic was of that video. So I can see all of my top performing content and my bottom performing content every single week, and then I use that to make better content. How? I pretty much see for the top performing content, I'll see what hooks I use and I'll reuse those hooks. I will see what topics perform well consistently over time and I'll reuse those topics. For the bottom performing content, if I know that I had a really good topic but it just didn't hit, I will use a hook that I know performed better. Sometimes I think it's a topic that I really like and I think it's helpful, but it always doesn't perform well every time, so I just know that my audience doesn't need to hear that right now. So I pretty much am adjusting my content to what my audience wants to hear, and that is how I continuously make better and better content. And when you have those new ideas and you have those new hooks, you again use the rule of 3, and it's just like an endless loop of like learning from your previous content and just making it better. And that's how I grew the Stan account from 10,000 followers to 70,000 followers in just a year. So it really works. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. We're gonna be doing videos like this every single week to help you out as a content creator.
So make sure to subscribe.